All right. So my book discusses a common problem people in my field, the UX field, often have: getting other people to act upon their research results. UX practitioners conduct studies with potential or existing users of products. Findings from these studies, if implemented during the development phase, are known to help products to be more useful and usable for people. The challenges UX practitioners have is that many engineers, marketeers, and executives, which I call them stakeholders, believe that UX research is an extra cost that can be saved since their intuition leads them to make the right product design choices. What are your thoughts about this situation?
I think what we're describing to some degree is a situation that existed 10, 15 years ago. We still have the management challenge to convince management, but if you go back 10 or 15 years ago, products didn't need to be as simple as they need to be today. I think there was almost like a willingness or an acceptance, particularly people buying technical products, that they wouldn't be that easy to use and that they'd have to invest quite a bit of time in actually learning how to use them. But I think that dynamic has really, really changed in the last number of years, where the customer is very demanding that what they get will be really easy to use. And if it's not something that they can start working with within a couple of minutes, then a lot of people will literally, not use the product. Mm-hmm. Not buy it again or refuse to. I often see it in intranets where there's these extraordinarily clunky systems for employees, and employees just refuse to use them today. I think we're dealing with a different generation where ease of use is not some side activity or some like to have. It's actually the key defining characteristic of success. Now, we still have managers who live in the 80s. Mm-hmm. And who manage based on 80s models of management. And we have to convince them that the world has changed. But the good thing is that the world has changed, but we just need to bring arguments forward. So we're on the winning side. It doesn't necessarily mean that we as individuals will win, but we're on the right side of history, so to speak.
All right. What is the most basic advice you can give a UX practitioner who is dealing with stakeholders who don't understand or respect the UX research process?
I think talk as little about, user research or usability as possible, and talk as much as possible about what that manager cares about. Mm-hmm. And you can tell them that if they're in government, they will deliver more efficient services. They will, reduce costs by having people being able to serve themselves on the website, so there'll be a reduction in calls to the help centres. You can tell them that, if they're interested in sales, that they'll sell more stuff. If you make the website easy, you will sell more. If you're in, a support website, your customers will be happier. They'll be able to support and solve their own problems. So I think we should talk about the outputs, not the inputs. I think too many people. I just came back from a very interesting user research conference in Berlin at the weekend, and the same issues are coming up. But oftentimes you get into your own world and you start talking about your skills and your techniques, and it's great fun. But the people who hold the budgets don't care about all these things, nor should they care. They care about different things. They care about the outputs. They don't care about research. They care about results. So we should talk about the results that we drive, not the inputs, not the activities. Talk about the outputs.
Mm-hmm. So what can a UX researcher do differently tomorrow morning to change this situation?
Well, I think stop talking about user research,
Mm-hmm.
and start talking about get into your customer, users research. Well, one of the first things you should do research on is your boss,
Mm-hmm.
like their use of your research. Sometimes it's amazing. People in user research, they almost well, to a degree, can be like spoiled children. Why people? Why won't they listen? Why, I'm this, misunderstood artist. That's not the world we live in. The first users you should understand is management. They're users. They're people you should research and understand. Understand their needs. Think like a manager who is making a decision based on budgets, and they don't really care about these things. No, they don't care about content, they don't care about graphics, they don't care about research, they care about results. So speak about results and what this leads to. And I think we have a tremendous story to tell, because if it's not easy to use, it's dead in the water in so many areas today. Ease of use is strategic, it is crucial, but it is still a tactic, so to speak. It's what you get from making things easy to use. You only have to look at Google to show how, when you made search easy for people to do, and you took marketing out of it. You took the getting in people's faces and annoying them. You design around their worlds, and they want to find stuff. Nobody gives a crap about a search engine. They want to find stuff. Mm-hmm. Think about finding what's the end result for the person, and how can you lead to better end results?
Mm-hmm. Can you tell me a story about a difficult stakeholder who didn't understand or respect UX or UX research?
Yeah, you get a lot of people. I think the biggest thing we should manage in this environment is time, is people's time. Because if stuff is easy, it's fast. Mm-hmm. So if you help people to do something easily, it's invariably time saving in a number of areas. And I remember once talking to a manager about in a very large organization where it was very hard to find a location. They had hundreds of offices and buildings and factories, and one of the biggest companies in the world. And staff found it really difficult to find buildings and then the meeting rooms, and it was clearly obvious that there was a lot of time being wasted in finding locations. So there was hundreds of maps and out of date, and this was about 6 or 7 years ago, before kind of Google Maps and stuff like that, Bing Maps or whatever came along, and we could show that it was taking an average of about 10 minutes to find the correct location within the multiplicity of buildings that this organization had, and in different cities, people going to different cities. And we said we could easily bring that down to about 5 minutes or less. And the manager said, so what? You save 5 minutes, they could be out smoking a cigarette. And I think this challenge comes up that often managers, they don't respect time. And my response to that manager was, yes, they could be out smoking a cigarette, but right now that 5 minutes is lost, right? And there's 20,000 of those 5 minutes every month. That's waste. That's definitely gone. We can give you back that 5 minutes. It's your job as a manager to manage the 5 minutes efficiently, right? To get the best use out of it. But what we can tell you right now is that it's gone. It's wasted. It has no potential. So if we make it easier to find a location, we give back time to the environment. And then it's the job of management to manage that time professionally and efficiently.
All right. Imagine an in-house UX researcher who is always trying to identify opportunities for meaningful research. What would you recommend they do to better identify such opportunities?
Well, a lot of the stuff that I do today is, rather than focusing on the research, focusing on how can I save time here?
Mm-hmm.
How could I save 30 seconds? Could they, so rather than looking at, that's like saying, as a writer, how can I find opportunities to write articles? I think it's the wrong focus in a way.
Mm-hmm.
That rather, how can I find opportunities to entertain people or to, make them think, or, so I think go around looking, rather than opportunities to do research, go around looking for opportunities to make people's lives easier,
mm-hmm.
To save their time, to help them, if it's a big strategic initiative within your organization, to be more collaborative, to be more efficient. How can we find better ways to create cross-functional teams and get them working together? It doesn't have to be doing all of it,
mm-hmm.
but doing a tiny thing that allows better and more efficient collaboration. But rather than looking at the research, how can I have opportunities to do more research? Rather, again, look at the outputs, because if you find a time-saving, a thing that would save time, almost by definition that will involve you doing research to really prove that or show that. Mm-hmm. But don't look for opportunities to do more research. Look for opportunities to help your customers, or your employees or whatever, be more efficient. Get things done faster, get things done easier.
Mm-hmm. How can UX practitioners tell if their stakeholders are bought into research?
Well, I think ultimately, we did a project for Liverpool there a while ago, and identifying the top tasks of the people coming to the City of Liverpool website, and the top tasks came up like find a library or leisure facilities or stuff like that, basic stuff. Report faults, bin collections, and the website had thousands of pages before this, and they were trying to answer every question. So the website went down from 4,000 pages to about 700 pages. So we found out the really important tasks, and then we got rid of the minor tasks that I call the tiny tasks, which are often getting in the way and cluttering. But there was a lot of resistance to doing that. But when the data came back a couple of months later, like online transactions had gone up by 400%. There were 4 customer complaints in the entire city about the new website. But there were loads and loads of complaints from staff. Where's my content? But we had the outputs of people are now coming to the website and they're using the website. They're using it to report or to do things, and that's resulting in much less calls, much to support. So there'll be good stories to tell, basically. Mm-hmm. Tell good stories. This research and observing behavior, to me, is the fulcrum of managing a web. But my focus is particularly websites. Mm-hmm. So to me, the essence of website management is observation. It's not a side activity. It's the activity. It's the management principle. If you look at any other environment that's self-service, Starbucks, Walmart, McDonald's, 80% of management time is with their customer, observing their customers. It's not, Walmart don't say let's go and do a bit of customer research. That's their daily life. That's what they spend 6 hours a day doing. In their supermarkets, around their customers. That's how Sam Walton built Walmart. Constant testing, refining, observing. Sam Walton's family, they couldn't go on holidays near a city, because if they went on holidays near a city, Sam Walton disappeared, and they'd find him in a local supermarket. They went down looking at the shelves. They had to go to the countryside where there were no bloody supermarkets, because they couldn't keep Sam Walton out of supermarkets.
All right. Okay. These are all the questions I had for you. Do you have anything to add? Something that I didn't ask about and you think is important to say?
I think you've summarised it quite well. I think, broadly, this is an extremely exciting time to be involved in this, because knowing the customer, knowing people, and observing their behaviour is critical to the future economies. This might have been something that was in the background 15 years ago, but in a modern economy, observation-based management, evidence-based management is the future. It's coming into medicine, it's coming into education, it's coming into collaborative evidence-based, observation-based management, which is in essence at core research, getting outside of your behavior patterns and getting into the behavior patterns of the people you're dealing with is a big part of the future. But we get there by not talking about it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. All right, Gerry. Thank you very much for your time. That was extremely useful. Thank you.
Okay, you're very welcome, Tom.